It started as a normal weekend hiking trip. Nothing extreme, nothing dangerous. Just a simple plan to get out of the city and spend some time in the woods. Me and my friend Daniel had done it before. We weren't experts, but we knew enough to stay safe. Stick to marked trails, don't wander too far, and always head back before dark. That was the plan. We arrived at the trailhead around noon. The weather was perfect. Clear sky, cool air, and that quiet stillness you only get deep in the forest. The kind of silence that feels peaceful at first, but gets heavier the longer you stay in it. The trail we chose was a well-known one, a loop that should take about 3 hours to complete. There were signs, markers on trees, even a small map at the entrance. Everything seemed straightforward. For the first hour, everything was normal. We walked, talked, joked about random things. The sound of leaves crunching under our boots echoed softly with every step. Birds chirped occasionally, and the wind moved gently through the trees. Then, after a while, something changed. I noticed it first. The forest had gone quiet. Not the peaceful kind of quiet, the unnatural kind. No birds, no wind, no movement, just silence. I slowed down slightly and looked around. The trees felt closer now, taller, darker, like they were blocking out more light than before. Daniel noticed it too. "Do you hear that?" he asked.
No!
I listened. "Nothing," I said. He nodded slowly. "Exactly." We kept walking. A few minutes later, we came across something strange. A trail, but not the one we were on. This one branched off to the right, narrow, unmarked. There was no sign, no marker, nothing. On the map we had seen earlier, it looked older, like it had been there for a long time, but not officially part of the trail. Daniel stepped closer to it. "Was this on the map?" he asked. I shook my head. No. We stood there for a moment, staring down the path. It disappeared into the trees quickly, swallowed by darkness just a few meters in. There was something about it that felt wrong, like it wasn't meant to be there. "We should stick to the main trail," I said. Daniel nodded. But neither of us moved. Instead, we kept looking at it, and that's when we heard it. Footsteps from somewhere down that path. Slow, deliberate, like someone was walking toward us. We froze. The sound stopped. Complete silence again. Daniel let out a nervous, "Probably just another hiker," he said, but his voice didn't sound convinced. Neither of us were. We waited a few seconds. Nothing. No one appeared. No movement. No sound. After a moment, Daniel said something I wish he hadn't. "Let's just check it out for a minute." I hesitated. Every instinct told me not to. But curiosity got the better of me. We stepped off the main trail and onto the unmarked one. The moment we did, the air felt different, colder, heavier. The light seemed dimmer, even though the sky hadn't changed. We walked slowly, carefully. The path was uneven, covered in roots and old leaves. It didn't look like many people had used it recently. After a few minutes, I realized something. There were no footprints. None. Not ours, not anyone else's. Just untouched ground. That didn't make sense. We had just heard footsteps. Daniel noticed it too. "Do you see this?" he said quietly. I nodded. We both stopped walking. That's when we heard it again. Footsteps behind us. We turned around instantly. The path behind us was empty. No one there. But the sound had been clear. Right behind us. We stood there, not moving, listening. Silence. Then, slowly, we heard it again. This time, ahead of us, further down the path, walking away, like whatever it was had moved past us without being seen. A cold feeling spread through my chest. "We should go back," I said. Daniel didn't argue. We turned around and started walking back toward the main trail. But something was wrong. The path looked different. The trees didn't look the same. The direction felt off. We kept walking, faster now, trying to find the main trail. But it wasn't there. The path just continued, endlessly. The forest around us looked identical in every direction. Same trees, same shadows, same silence. Panic started to set in. "We came from this way," Daniel said, but even he didn't sound sure anymore. We kept moving, faster, then almost running, trying to find anything familiar, anything that made sense. But the forest didn't change. It just kept going. Then suddenly, we saw something. A clearing in the middle of the trees. We stepped into it and immediately stopped. There were footprints, dozens of them, all over the ground. But they weren't normal. They were all facing inward, toward the center of the clearing, like people had been standing there, surrounding something or someone. But there were no footprints leading away, only inward. Daniel whispered something under his breath. I didn't catch it, because at that moment, we heard it again. Footsteps all around us, from every direction. Moving, closing in, slow, deliberate, like we were being surrounded. I felt my heart pounding in my chest. "We need to leave. Now," I said. We ran, straight back into the trees, not caring about direction anymore. Just running. Branches hitting our arms, leaves crunching loudly under our feet. The footsteps followed. Still slow, still steady, but always behind us, no matter how fast we moved. Then suddenly, we broke out onto the main trail, just like that, like nothing had happened. The sunlight felt brighter, the air felt lighter, the sounds of birds returned. Normal. Everything was normal again. We stopped, breathing heavily, looking back toward where we had come from. There was no path, no unmarked trail, nothing. Just trees. Daniel looked at me. I didn't say anything, neither did he. We didn't talk about it again on the way back, didn't try to explain it. We just left, quietly. And when we reached the trailhead, I looked back one last time, deep into the forest, and for a brief moment, I thought I saw something, standing between the trees, perfectly still, watching us, like it was waiting for us to come back, but we never did.
Before we move on to the next story, give us your verdict on this one, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
We weren't supposed to go that deep into the woods. It wasn't even part of the plan. The campsite we had booked was near a well-known trail, close enough to other campers that we wouldn't be completely isolated, but far enough to feel like we were alone. That was the whole point, just a quiet weekend away from everything. It was me, Aaron, and Chris. We had arrived just before sunset, set up the tent, started a small fire, and spent the evening talking about random things. The kind of conversations you only have when there's nothing else around but trees and darkness. By the time the fire burned low, the forest had gone completely still. No wind, no insects, no distant sounds. Just silence. Aaron was the first to notice it. "Does it feel too quiet to you?" he asked. Chris shrugged. "It's the woods," he said. "What do you expect?" But I knew what Aaron meant. It wasn't normal quiet. It felt like something had been turned off. We didn't think much of it at the time. We zipped up the tent, turned off our lights, and tried to sleep. The ground was uneven, and the air had gotten colder than we expected. But eventually, we drifted off. I don't know what time it was when I woke up, but something had changed. At first, I thought it was just the cold. Then I realized what had actually woken me. A voice, faint, distant, calling out from somewhere in the trees. I stayed still, listening. "Hello." It was soft, almost like a whisper carried through the air. I sat up slowly. Aaron was already awake. I could see his silhouette in the dark. "You hear that?" he whispered. I nodded. The voice came again. "Help." Chris woke up this time. "What's going on?" he muttered. We told him. He listened, and then the voice came again, this time clearer. No. "Can someone help me?" We all froze. It sounded like a person, close enough to hear clearly, but far enough that we couldn't tell where it was coming from. Aaron unzipped the tent slightly and looked outside. "Do you see anything?" I asked. He shook his head. "No," he said quietly. "Nothing." The voice continued, repeating the same thing over and over. "Help me, please." At first it sounded desperate, like someone lost. But after a few minutes, something about it started to feel wrong. The tone didn't change. The rhythm didn't change. It was the same words, the same way, every time. "We should go check." I felt my stomach drop. "No," I said immediately. "That doesn't sound right." Aaron didn't say anything. He just kept listening. The voice came again, closer this time. Not louder, just closer, like it had moved, without us hearing it move. "Help me." Chris sat up fully now. "It could be someone injured," he said. "We can't just ignore it." I understood what he meant, but something felt off, deeply off. "That's not normal," I said. "Listen to it. It's not changing." We all listened. The voice repeated again. Exactly the same. Same tone, same spacing, same words. Aaron slowly zipped the tent back closed. "We're not going out there," he said. Chris hesitated, but eventually he nodded. We stayed inside, silent, listening. The voice kept going. For minutes, then longer. Time felt strange. The darkness felt heavier. Then suddenly, it stopped completely. No fading, no last call. Just silence. The kind that presses against your ears. We didn't move. No one spoke. We just waited. Then, after a while, Chris whispered, "Maybe they left." Aaron shook his head slowly. "No," he said. "They're still out there." I felt a chill run down my spine. "What do you mean?" I asked. He didn't answer. Instead, he slowly pointed toward the back of the tent. We all turned. And that's when we heard it. Breathing. Right behind us. Outside the tent. Slow, steady, close. Too close. No footsteps. No movement. Just breathing. Like someone was standing inches away from the fabric. Listening to us. None of us moved. None of us spoke. The breathing continued. Then, a voice. Right behind us. Clear. Not distant anymore. Right there. "Help me." But it sounded different this time. The tone was off. Distorted. Like it was trying to imitate something human. And failing. Chris grabbed my arm tightly. Aaron didn't move at all. The voice spoke again, but this time, it changed. It wasn't asking for help anymore. It was repeating something else, softly. Almost curious. "Come outside." A long pause. Then again, "Come outside." My heart was pounding so hard, I could barely hear anything else. The breathing got louder, closer. Then we heard something brush against the tent, slowly, like a hand, dragging across the fabric. None of us reacted. We stayed completely still. Then, after a few seconds, everything stopped. No breathing, no voice, nothing. We stayed awake until sunrise. Didn't say a word, didn't move. The moment the first light hit the trees, everything felt normal again. The sounds returned. Birds, wind. The forest felt alive again. We got out of the tent slowly, carefully, looking around. There was nothing there. No footprints. No signs of anyone. No broken branches. Nothing. Just the same quiet campsite. Like nothing had happened. But as we packed up our things, Aaron stopped. He was staring at something on the side of the tent. We walked over and saw it. Finger marks. Long, uneven. Pressed into the fabric from the outside. As if something had been standing there, feeling its way across the tent, trying to find a way in. We left immediately after that. Didn't finish the trip. Didn't talk about it on the way back. And we never went camping together again. But sometimes, late at night, when everything is quiet, I still hear it. Faint, distant, from somewhere I can't see. Come outside.
Before we move on to the next story, give us your verdict on this one, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
We shouldn't have stayed that late. That's the first thing I always think about when I remember that night. If we had just packed up earlier, if we had left when it started getting dark, none of it would have happened. But we didn't. We stayed, and whatever was in those woods came with us. It was the last day of our trip. Me, Ryan, and Joel had been camping for 2 nights in a remote area that wasn't officially marked as a campsite. No cabins, no park rangers, no nearby trails. Just a clearing we found a few miles off the main road, surrounded by dense forest on all sides. During the day, it felt normal, quiet, peaceful, almost too perfect. Sunlight broke through the trees just enough to light the clearing, and there was a small stream nearby that made everything feel alive. But at night, it was different. The darkness felt heavier there, like the trees weren't just blocking the light, but something else. We noticed it the first night. Strange sounds in the distance. Not animals, not anything we could recognize, but we brushed it off, told ourselves it was just the woods. By the 3rd night, we were used to it, or at least, we thought we were. We had packed most of our gear earlier that evening, planning to leave first thing in the morning. The fire was small, just enough to keep us warm, and we sat around it, talking like we had every night. Then, at some point, the fire started to dim. The light faded, and the woods went quiet. Completely quiet. Ryan stopped talking mid-sentence. "Do you hear that?" he asked. Joel frowned. "Hear what?" Ryan looked around slowly. Exactly. That same unnatural silence again. No wind, no insects, no water from the stream. Just nothing. I felt that familiar unease settle in my chest. "We should probably turn in," I said. No one argued. We put out the fire, zipped up the tent, and tried to sleep. But something felt off. Worse than the previous nights. Like whatever was out there was closer. I lay there, staring into the darkness of the tent, listening, waiting. Then I heard it. A single footstep. Outside. Slow. Heavy. Joel heard it too. I could tell by the way he shifted beside me. Then another step. And another. Moving around the tent. Not rushing. Not hiding. Just circling. "Ryan, do not open the tent." No one was planning to. The footsteps continued, slow, measured, like whatever it was had all the time in the world. Then suddenly, they stopped. Right outside the entrance, I could feel my heartbeat in my ears. We waited, listening. Then, a hand pressed against the tent. From the outside, the fabric stretched inward slightly. Fingers. Long. Thin. Too long. Dragging slowly across the surface. Joel let out a shaky breath. The hand moved, sliding along the tent. Then disappearing, the footsteps resumed. Moving away, back into the trees. We didn't sleep after that. None of us. We just lay there in silence until morning, waiting for the light. When the sun finally came up, everything felt normal again. like it always did. The forest looked harmless, peaceful, almost inviting. We didn't talk about what happened. Not really. We packed up quickly, loaded everything into the car, and left. The drive back felt long, quiet. No one said much. We were all tired, drained. But there was also something else. A feeling like we weren't alone. I kept checking the rearview mirror. At first, I didn't see anything. Just the road, the trees. Then, after a while, I noticed something. A shape. Far behind us. On the road. Walking. At first, I thought it was just another person. But the road we were on, no one walks there. There's nothing around for miles. I kept watching it. It didn't get closer. Didn't get further away. Just stayed there. In the distance. Moving. Step by step. Ryan noticed me looking. "What is it?" he asked. I hesitated. "Nothing," I said. I didn't want to say it out loud. Didn't want to make it real. After a while, I looked away, tried to ignore it, but the feeling didn't go away. Hours passed. We finally reached the highway. More cars. More people. Everything felt normal again. Or at least, it should have. We dropped Joel off first, then Ryan. I was the last one to get home. It was late. The sun had already gone down again. I pulled into my driveway, turned off the engine, and just sat there for a moment, letting the silence settle. Then I looked in the rearview mirror and saw it, standing behind my car, right there, close enough that I could see its shape clearly now. Tall, unnaturally thin, its head tilted slightly to one side, like it was studying me, watching. I froze, my hands gripping the steering wheel. It didn't move, didn't come closer, just stood there. Then slowly, it raised one arm and placed its hand on the back of my car. The same long fingers, the same unnatural shape. I didn't wait. I got out of the car and ran inside, locked the door, locked every window, turned on every light. My heart pounding so hard it felt like it might stop. I stayed inside all night, didn't sleep, didn't look outside again. The next morning, it was gone. No footprints, no marks, nothing. Just an empty driveway. But sometimes, when I go outside late at night, I feel it again. That same presence, standing just out of sight, watching, waiting. Like it never really left. It just followed me all the way home.
If you made it this far, thank you for spending your night with us. If these stories gave you chills, there are plenty more waiting. Don't forget to subscribe to Night Fear Stories so that you are able to enjoy upcoming content on the channel. Good night and sleep well if you can.